Hi, my name is Carmen, and I am an early childhood special education teacher, a life and ADHD coach, and I'm the host of this podcast, Authentically ADHD. I created this podcast to help anyone wondering if they have ADHD, people who have been diagnosed for a while and want some more support and community. I'm here to bring you the latest research on ADHD and neurodiversities while we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of ADHD. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi there, my friend, and welcome back to Authentically ADHD with me, Carmen, where we explore topics that empower those navigating life with ADHD. I'm Carmen, I'm your host, and today we are going to dive into a crucial topic, and that is unlocking the ADHD Advantage is a little bit of a clickbait title, but what it is they are game-changing essentials to living life with ADHD. And if you want to live a fulfilling life with ADHD and you want to thrive instead of just survive, these things that I want to help you harness will help you live a more fulfilling life. Now, before I tell you the 6 different things that we're going to dive into today, let me remind you that I have podcast episodes on each of these topics. I also started doing an ADHD tip of the day on my TikTok over the summer, and I haven't really I've missed like a couple days in about like almost 4 months now, which super proud of myself. Here's another thing that I want to tell you before I even tell you what the things are. I have implemented these 6 things. I came up with these 6 things because these are the 6 things that have helped me in changing the way that I live my life with ADHD. I don't feel like I'm fighting my brain every day. Do I have bad brain days? Yes. But having these skills and developing and embracing and doing all of these things that I have been doing for going on 3 years now has made it so that I'm ahead on my podcast right now, which is something that I needed to do. Sometimes people with ADHD specifically, we need that extra pressure to get our podcast or other tasks done, but I still hyperfixate on my podcast. I still love doing it. So getting up to do it is not something that is super difficult for me. So I do like to create them, and I'm lucky that I got a lot of ideas over the summer so that I could bank up episodes so I would not be stressed. It is actually the weekend, it's actually the day of the concert that I bought tickets to in June. His name is Seven Sins, his stage name, and I found him on TikTok Live, and I've been following him for a year. And today I get to go to his concert. And I can't believe how much I've grown, how much this podcast has grown. We have nearly doubled in our listenership. So this is why I'm doing kind of a longer intro here, a kind of get to know me little segment here, because I also want to sell you on the fact that some of these topics, some of these things, these life hacks, these game-changing essentials, they're going to be cringy. You're going to be like, what? No. Ew. Don't worry. You're in good company because I did the same thing. Okay? So I want you to remember that if you scroll back, I have over 100 episodes. So there is an episode or 2 on each of these things going in deeper, diving in a little deeper if you feel that you need to do that. You can also check out the show notes and set up a free coaching call with me. I have clients who have been blown away by the growth that coaching has given them. So, without further ado, let's dive into it. Today, we're going to dive into these 6 game-changing essentials for living a better life with ADHD. Self-concept, relationships, organizational systems, developing essential skills, embracing mindfulness, and cultivating community. Each of these topics will help you to improve the management of your symptoms. So that will help you, in turn, to improve your well-being and, most of all, live as authentically you. So, are you ready? Let's get started. Our journey begins with self-concept. Seriously, it's the foundation upon everything else. Everything else that builds off of this is what is our self-concept. And our self-concept is what we think and how we feel about ourselves. It's how you talk to yourself. It's how you view yourself. Most of us develop a pretty negative self-concept as we grow up being neurodiverse in a world built for neurotypical people. We are rejected. We are told that we are too much or not enough. We adopt these thoughts and beliefs and they become ingrained into our self-concept. But here's the thing. No one else is allowed to build your self-concept. You get to do that. Nobody else. So start out by listing out your strengths. Start out by drawing a boundary to stop talking to yourself in ways that you would never speak to anyone you love or even like. Okay? Self-love is a part of this. Cringe, I know, but we have to build it. Living with ADHD often comes with so many challenges, but it's equally as important to recognize the unique strengths that it brings you, that it helps you with. So embracing a positive self-concept and building a positive self-concept involves understanding ADHD not just as a hurdle, but as your source of that hyperfocus, that resilience, and some of those out-of-the-box thinking ways that we are built. So, reframe that self-perception so that you can unlock some new-found confidence and motivation. The next thing we're going to explore is relationships. Managing ADHD can affect how we connect with others, but it also affects a different perspective on empathy, spontaneity, and authenticity. So, fostering meaningful and healthy relationships is incredibly important. Okay? One of the big keys to cultivating and keeping good relationships is to find people who are safe. People who can build trust with you and people who understand you and don't shame you. Okay? These things, here's the thing. Connection is a need. For humans, we all need connection, okay? So another key to building and sustaining healthy relationships is clear communication. So finding people that are like-minded. I know of so many times that miscommunication was the problem in a friendship or relationship or any type of, romantic or not. So remember also that the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself. Going back to that self-concept. So if you don't love, validate, trust, and accept yourself, it's unfair to expect that of others. Okay? It's like saying, I am refusing to accept myself, but I demand that you accept me the way I am, and I don't need to change. So we need to navigate social dynamics that complement our ADHD traits. Being friends with people who are type A and don't get ADHD isn't really, that's not really a way that I would go. So I would find people that are like you. We'll get a little bit more into this in the community building part of it, cultivating that community. but we need connection as humans. So building these relationships is important to thriving in life with ADHD. The next, game-changing essential for ADHD adults is building effective organizational systems. Did you hear that word? I'm going to emphasize it, okay? I'm going to do it. I'm going to emphasize the word that I want you to notice. Building effective organizational systems, okay? We're really bad at being organized, usually. It's a big challenge, and it can be emotionally dysregulating, okay? But it can become a powerful tool if you have the right systems in place. So that's the key, is personalizing it to you. The key is functionality. So stop worrying about what it looks like. Organizational systems need to be functional, not Pinterest perfect. If you do it Pinterest perfect, it's not going to work. You need to build systems that are functional, okay? Some people live off of shelves. Some people live out of drawers. Some people live out of closets. Some people have a little organizational system for each part of their house. Find what works for you. I like an open organizational system, a file cabinet that can be opened or shelving that I can file papers onto, that I can see what's on each shelf. I like bookshelves because I can see the things that are on the shelves. I don't like drawers because out of sight is out of mind for me. Okay? Time management, I don't use sticky notes, but if they work for you, great. The only time I use it is if I'm reminding myself of something and I'm putting the sticky note right in the middle of my mirror or my computer screen. Okay? Use your phone for those reminders and personalize them. Don't just put in a reminder without any, settings changed. What I do is I use the reminders, but I make it so that, okay, here's the thing. There's always a headphone in my ear. I don't know what it is, like, unless I'm doing something like a podcast. Even then, I sometimes have a headphone in. But here's the thing. I know that if a reminder goes off and I make it so that it overrides everything on my phone, meaning it stops whatever I'm listening to or whatever I'm doing, and it cuts it all off to remind me to do something, maybe I'll snooze it, but if I have it at the right time of day, I'm going to do it and then complete it. It's something that I learned from my client recently. All he had to do was change the time of his alarm, and he didn't snooze it, and he actually did the task. Sometimes it's just that simple. Sometimes it's not. But what I really want you to focus on is functionality, not the aesthetic of what you think that it should look like, okay? For real. Do what works for you in those organizational systems. Try and fail and evaluate and adjust. And once you get it, once you get the right one, it can be a tool that you can use to your advantage. I promise you of that. Now, will you always be organized? No. I am still very disorganized. There are still messy areas. I still have to declutter. It's never going to be perfect, whether you have ADHD or not, okay? So finding those organizational systems that work for you in the parts of your life where you need them can really help you leverage your life. Next, we're talking about developing essential skills. Skill building is essential for personal growth. I'm going to highlight a couple key skills here, like decision-making, prioritization, emotional regulation, and goal setting, aka like self-motivation. So, it probably doesn't feel fair that we have to develop these skills as adults when a lot of this stuff seemed to develop in our neurotypical peers as kids. It's valid to feel that way because it's correct. But we can't get stuck there. We have to accept that we have to develop these essential skills to make it easier to actually practice them. ADHD brains do not develop the skills of prioritization, decision-making, emotional regulation, or self-motivation. And here's the thing. All of those impact our daily lives all the time. They impact the goals we set. They impact our relationships. They impact every part of our lives. So we have to start practicing pausing to feel our emotions. I know, ew, gross, cringe. We don't like it. Because who likes feeling horrible? Who likes feeling horrible? Nobody. But the more you practice, like anything, you'll get better. And you'll be able to do it more in the moment. When we see our priorities as all of the same importance, because that's what our brain does, we have to write out what's most important to decide what to do first. That's an example of practicing prioritizing and decision making. Another thing that we do have to do is build in our own dopamine. The reward system in our brain is broken. If you've been listening to my podcast for any amount of time, I have talked about this. The reward system in our ADHD brains is broken. The dopamine releases when we finish the task, but our brain eats it up so fast, we don't even feel it. So, staying motivated to meet goals is hard. So we have to build in our own dopamine rewards in order to hone in these types of skills and leverage our strengths in our ADHD. So really discover and explore how different targeted practice and feedback can really transform these skills to support success in your life with ADHD or neurodiversity, whatever it is. I know you're going to cringe at the next one because I still sometimes cringe at this, but we need to start embracing mindfulness. It offers a pathway to harnessing our ADHD hyperfocus and manage our distractions and self-regulate, our emotions and ourselves. So mindfulness, aka learning to live in the present moment, can help you to slow down. It can help you recognize your distractions and your emotions and the situations you're in. And it can help you feel less chaotic, okay? And it's hard for a lot of us to engage in mindfulness, especially because at first we really believe that we have to stay still, lay down, and do that traditional meditation stereotype. Guess what? That's not true. You can find ways to actively meditate, such as walking around in the grass. If you can stand it, which I can't, I have to wear socks, do it barefoot if you can. It also includes active processing, which can be done in many ways. It can include a solitude practice or a routine or a ritual. It just needs to work for you. Something to practice to help you stay present, to help you check in with yourself and stay grounded in times of emotion, in stress, and or overwhelm. Mindfulness practices are many a dozen. Like I said, we have this misconception that you have to stay still. Techniques for grounding, I sit on the floor. A lot of people walk in nature. Stay present in the moment. Use journaling or walking without your headphones and just think. Or embrace moments of clarity and solitude amidst the chaos of living a neurodiverse life. Okay? The next and last one is cultivating a support network. So getting into a community. Let me tell you this. I don't know. I've heard this in so many different places. Here's the thing. The trauma and the diagnosis and the neurodiversity, it all happened in community. And it was damaged in community, if it was damaged. No journey healing like this is complete without a strong support network or community, okay? Surrounding yourself with those understanding individuals who will champion your strengths and celebrate with you and understand why celebrating something so quote-unquote small as getting the dishes done is so important is going to provide encouragement during those challenges when you feel like you want to give up. From your family to coaches to mentors to ADHD communities, really, honestly, and truly, I'm going to tell you right now, the healing that I needed to be done in community. And that's what I'm going to say about that. Find yourself a community. Come join mine. Go join Focused. Find one that you like. Seriously, it can be a huge game changer to be a part of a community of people who do the same things you do. They think like you do. They understand your brain. And it's really, really supportive, validating, and I don't know. I can't think of a better word, but it's rewarding to be a part of a community like that. And I'm honored to be part of Focused and to be building my own community as we speak. So, in conclusion, today we have explored 6 game-changing essentials for unlocking the ADHD advantage: self-concept, relationships, organizational systems, skill building, mindfulness, and getting into that community and support network. I want you to remember that navigating life with ADHD isn't just about managing the symptoms, but embracing the fact that you have ADHD and what it brings to your life. So, until next time, stay curious, keep embracing the journey, and thank you for listening to another episode of Authentically ADHD. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you can see when I release new episodes. We have a sucky working memory, so remember to subscribe so that you get notified when new episodes come out. If you have the capacity, rate and review. It gets us out there so that people with ADHD can find my podcast and hopefully grow from it. Share it with friends who maybe don't know about it. Your support helps me reach more listeners just like you. And I appreciate that so, so much. I hope you have the best week. That's all I have. Stay authentic, and we will talk soon. Speaking of extra supports, I just wanted to tell you all that I've updated my Patreon page to include all of the resources that I've really ever made to be held in one place. Just head to my show notes. The VIP members do get a little extra, but you can also purchase like my brand new Ultimate ADHD Journal and Planner, which I've been using for the past year. That has worked. Nothing is priced over $10, and everything is at least 50 to 100 pages that you can download and print. You can get it to bind it and sent to you, or you can just read it off your screen and use notebook paper. So if you want or need any type of that kind of extra support, just head to my show notes and click the Patreon link to join. I hope to see you in there.